I'll start with my week. So I was trying to buy USD CAD midweekish, late midweek. Um, I actually left this because I was trying to sell UJ at the same time. I know they're both USD related pairs, but they're both they're both lined up in the opposite ways, and I sort of realised that they are kind of opposite as well, even though they're both USD led. But basically, obviously, so the setup that I was looking for on this one is I didn't want to do that. So I've made obviously on this one, obviously I've made the red liquidity lines the relevant ones for this sort of trade. So as always, obviously, is one touch, two touch, three touch here, and then obviously this sweeps it. It does the same with this other trend line as well. This maybe has an extra touch in it, but we can sort of starting to break to the downside as well. But I was uh, I was hoping to sort of like catch some up until high into this leg at least. So obviously we are we have had a change of character for a downside, and I was anticipating a mitigation possibly somewhere up here. Obviously, it's taking trendline liquidity, and it's something in here is what caused the um a further break of structure below there, and so basically after the trend line sweep, so the two red lines. I'm assuming. Can you see that clearly, guys?
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. Obviously, three clean touches. Four on that one. One, two, three, four. Two little ones just in there. So,
So they're on quite low time frame, just 15 here. No big fancy.
yeah, I think you can see him on the 2 hour, mate. I'm
uh,
fairly sure you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not as clean, but the one of them, and they can't really. Yeah, just 15, mate. Um, so yeah, maybe on the hour I'll check that. I ain't really checked, but I mean, me personally, anyway, I tend to. I'll be on like they say the hour or 2 hour, and I mean, if you see these two wicks anyway,
mm,
I would drop below like to 15 and 5 just to double check to see if what's going on in these. Because
right.
on the hourly or the two, uh, these ones here, on the hourly, I would be saying obviously this one looks like it could be likely a valid touch on
Yeah.
a lower time frame. This one just looks like mid candle, so it looked like nothing. But
You don't
this,
you don't mind that your trend lines are not on a local low like that. The high one on the left there.
yeah,
That's not on a local low, is it?
no,
But that's you're
no.
all right with that. Your system works all right with that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I'm fine with it, mate. But the important part, obviously, this is what I'm sort of trying to explain. If you drop down to a lower time frame,
Yeah. I know it's a local low.
it's a low. If it was, say, this wick here,
Yeah.
that wick below
Yeah.
that wouldn't count because it's all part of the same push. Whereas this one, I know it's only
Right.
on the 5 minute, but it pushes away. There's a
Yeah.
gap
Okay.
between this one and the candles next to it, so I would be okay with this one. But I'd prefer it to be further away. The further away, the easier to spot as well. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would consider this all one from this low here all the way up to like this one where I've got the red line. I would consider that one push.
Right. Cool.
Um, don't know what it's like on the minute, but if you can't see it on the 5, then chances are
Yeah.
it's no good anyway.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, yeah, it's a decent little push where on the minute, obviously it's fine on that one, bigger push.
Cool.
But yeah,
Thanks.
if you can't see on the 5, it's probably not worth not for the startup of a trade. Obviously, it's fine if we're looking for entries and things. I would say the 1 minute wick pushes are fine. But yeah, as a general rule, anything lower than the 5, if you can't see it, it's probably not worth the hassle of looking. Um, so back to the
So
15. No worries, mate. So obviously from there, I'll just bar replay as well. So from there, obviously, alerts go off on the lines. Obviously, if you want to set an alert on the line, you just click on it, click on the thingy icon, the alarm icon. It'll set an alert for you. But once the alert's sort of gone off, once it passes the trend lines, obviously we would then jump on the. I would jump on the 1 minute, the 5 minute, or something like that. I'm okay with the one. This is. I see this as a valid pullback. A decent amount of green candles in a row, a substantial pullback. We are. So from somewhere up here, just count that the high. It could be higher up there, but it pulls back. It's high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So that would be my 1 minute structure, give or take. But the important part is I'm happy with this last move. Obviously, this one's at this point in price action, this wouldn't be classed as a pretty much a low until this is taken or it continues down. So I'll try not to confuse anything with that anyway. But so I'll play a few candles just to should have maybe deleted the entry and searched for it. So obviously there it closes above green line. Green, obviously green's my 1 minute stuff, so absolutely there. That one there. So we've had obviously all previous confirmations. We've just broken to the upside. I believe we was going to come and fill something up in somewhere. If I'm looking now, I'd say from possibly that week low here to the previous entry would be gone, but probably here would be a safer bet. So, because I was anticipating the mitigation possibly somewhere in there, and it looks like it does it anyway. I do believe news actually wrecked this, but for the purpose of the setup and everything else, we'll make out as if it didn't happen. Like I said, I didn't take this one. It was I was more interested in UJ as the sell, and it was both at the same time, so I didn't took UJ and left this. Uh, five. Yeah, I was when I maxed, I was a little bit safer on this. Normally, I'd be a bit more aggressive on this imbalance here, but things have been leaving me recently, so I just made sure I got a bit of this little. I included this cluster in this. I would have anyway. Like I said, I didn't take it, but that's what it's come for anyway. Um, the news I think comes maybe somewhat lower. So as as far as I'm concerned, any from this point here where it closes above the green line, price can enter from anything in from that this point where it closes. I'll draw a vertical line so you can see. So from that red line, I'll just from that line anywhere back until this low here. This candle here, the low. Anything that's not covered is valid. That's live. So price could come and tap anything that's still in here. So this is why I always say from this point where it closes above the green line, that is where I start looking for an entry because I believe it could fill an imbalance and then buy up to wherever my target is. So anywhere from that line to this wick low would be valid. I haven't actually checked to see if like the news or what it taps into or out, but show you and let it play out a bit. I get tapped into this here anyway. That was just so while we're on, I'll just check what this Newsweek tapped into because I don't believe things are done at random. So this was possibly always the target. Obviously, it looks like a nice little area anyway. So let's see what it's actually tapped into. So would have been a nice little entry. Sure, I don't think I'd dare take it on news anyway. But see, there's an imbalance here. So imbalance filled, taps into that. Yeah, whatever. I'm sure there's probably something on the seconds chart to be fair.
Love it.
Yeah, there you go. That red candle there is what it's. I don't know, but you get the gist. Obviously, it's filled the imbalance anyway. I mean, I think that's pretty much the lowest imbalance. So that's filled that. That's filled anything in there. Maybe this year, maybe something left in there, but it might come back to that at a later date. Um, like I say, anything in this is technically valid. It's not being covered, so
But the push that triggered your trade didn't go that far. It's
uh,
interesting, isn't it?
yeah,
You're
yeah.
a bit
It's
geeky like we are, then you've got to ask why didn't it push down that far when your trade was triggered? Yeah, I'm talking to myself there, Levi. I know there's not
yeah.
an
Do you
answer
mean
to
that
that.
lower entry there?
Yeah, which the news took.
Right, yeah, yeah. It's well,
So it didn't.
technically the news took it up to where I was anticipating my entry would have gone, but obviously I picked the slightly higher entry.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll take a look anyway and see. Obviously, there'd have been a reason, and maybe it was just I was obviously I thought that one because obviously we get a big push up. This doesn't really do much.
yeah,
It takes its own high, if you like. So
yeah,
maybe it takes a bit of liquidity in there. Maybe that's the answer. But I picked this area because this, I believe, leads to all this push up. So I had me 1 minute there.
yeah,
So I thought this is the lowest imbalance in that push up. So, but as I say, there's always a possibility it comes to summit all
yeah,
the way up to down here. We've just got to try and go, well, we're trying to stick
yeah,
more things in our probability. And obviously, you, I would always even suggest reducing risk and sticking a couple of entries on because there's only so many areas it will react off. Now, something at the top three would have been this one, and this one. I'd have got a bit out of that one possibly. If that one news, it would have got that one, and then obviously it might still come back down for something in here. But because of, I believe there's more liquidity anyway that needs to be taken. So I do think it's coming down anyway, but that might obviously, apart from the news, obviously spiking it. I mean, it reaches a decent target, and obviously it'd be even higher when I pick the right one. And but spreads would have annihilated me. But I'm just trying to cover a trade because just to obviously train our eyes, and as far as this new one involved, it'd be a perfect sort of setup. So
yeah.
um,
Spot on.
goes and like I say, it goes and does its thing. If it had not been for news, it would have been up to 28 fold. So you know, and then obviously the reason why it came up here is, I mean, there's possibly a trade in here as well for the sell, which let's have a quick look. So trend line. This order block up here causes the break of it. I'm assuming it maybe comes and fills that. Yeah, to the dot. So possible sell happened on here as well, or is due to play out. So obviously it filled an imbalance from there. It's definitely taken a low. It's just if it's going to come back up and maybe mitigate some up here next week, but I won't be surprised if it's gone now, to be honest. A bit of liquidity there. So yeah, it might come up and fill something in there, which is a possibility. But obviously, it's the same setup again. So trend line, three touches. I mean, this is a small trend line. I wouldn't be the most confident on it. It's also tight and it's on a lower time frame, but it's three good touches. And obviously, this is the order block that obviously if it's extended. This is the order block that causes it. So then, like I said, this one becomes a continuation. This is a nice price action to read. Don't know if it'd be any better on the 1 minute. Yeah, I think my 1 minute would be down here. This is all. These would be all right if this wasn't there. Um, but because of this, it leads me to believe that. So yeah, that's possibly 1 minute breaker structure down below here, which is done. Is now done. So, but I mean, this is a lot of price action. So, I'll draw a low. So black lines, 1 minute breaker structure, I believe. Now done it. We've got all this price action to decide if there's a sell in there. So it's probably one I would look to leave personally. I think that's too big a price action to try and find an entry. You could take quite a lot of losses in this. So from a risk management perspective, you would maybe pick a couple of areas. I mean, if you was desperate to trade, I would say pick a couple of areas, mark them up, see if anything reacts out of it. So don't just set a pending on it, just wait for it, see if it pulls away. If it gives you nice pushes away, market execute maybe. But like I say, there's a possibility that you take a lot of losses on this anyway. So, but again, obviously we can add further confirmations into this. We've got liquidity up here. So if you was to say you wouldn't take anything below this, you're probably left with one entry up here maybe. Take a look at the amount. Don't particularly like anything in that. Nothing clear about that. Maybe that's, but yeah, you get the idea anyway. I think it's probably sold off anyway. Don't know if I even class that as a pullback, so once that takes a low. But yeah, that's obviously a little reason of why it might have sold off from there is obviously took liquidity. This was the cause of it. Come back mitigated that order block where the big boys orders hit or whatever. So that's why we sold it off. Delete that so I get confused. So yes, that was me trying to buy the USD CAD anyway. As I said, I was trying to sell UJ. Pretty much identical as always. So Build up liquidity. Oh no, 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 sorry, ignore that. I'm gonna go further back. Further back. The move actually starts a lot further back. So this is a terrible. I'm sure that was better, but it's a possible build up liquidity here. I'm sure that was better. Sure. Seconds. Two, two minutes. Is it all red line? Oh, it's steeper. You can see it. So possibly this one. Touch. So this is the better trend line, the steeper one. Um, so if I extend that, it's take. So obviously this is where it's taken. So just above that is this order block. I've marked imbalances in that. So that one there. Just change it back to red. So yeah, obviously price takes the liquidity, eventually comes back, fills fills some of one of the imbalances to a T that I had marked. I've got three in there marked. Fills one of them, and then obviously again it continues to break to the downside. So from that perspective, it's a continuation sell that I was looking for. From this perspective, so obviously what I normally say is obviously trend line here as well. Price pulls back, sweeps liquidity, then obviously breaks below the low after the last touch. That's just as a general rule of thumb. It's not always the case. Sometimes I'll look at it and just say no, going off a structure low point at that point is the safer option. But as a general rule, after the last touch, a push away will be correct a lot of the time. But if you're unsure, always go for the one that's further away. So possibly on this occasion, if you went off structure, it'd be down here, but I'm happy with this because of the size of the pullback. We're on 15 and I'd generally be looking for a 1 minute. So I'd be happy that that was a 1 minute low. Obviously from this perspective, it looks like a sweep reversal. But obviously if you zoom out where the move starts from and why we've got the point of interest, it's possibly a continuation. But both playing out at the same time. It's for me, it's one big trade, one big setup, and then obviously it breaks to the downside and obviously it takes liquidity on the second entry. I tried selling from this one here. Again, same reason where we had my change of character here. It comes from somewhere in this area. As you can see here, it does tap it beautifully, and then it goes. I think news pushed it to 17-ish, 18 fold. It wasn't the one, wasn't the right entry, not the overall move. It then later on in the day, obviously took me out and tapped into something else. And then another lovely imbalance in there, which I didn't spot because I was on my phone at work. I'll show you these imbalances in a minute. But as you can see, so taps that entry and then goes 37 fold, and then obviously it's come back and is done something else. So it's tagged a imbalance up here, pretty much at the extreme of the move. So it's the very last, possibly the last bit of imbalance. I'll have to double check. I can't remember now. Obviously, it taps that and is pushing away. As a market's just opened here. So yeah, possibly still a live trade. I'm not in it, so it's irrelevant. But I'll show you the imbalances and we can decide if I was stupid or not. So this was the first one I took. Nice push away here, big imbalance, decent enough looking push up as well. Look, this little green candle here, nice push up, push down. Once we got around here, then obviously sells off a little bit, and it eventually does the change of character. This is the high of the where the or change of character comes from directly, which is why obviously I went for this one. So that was my entry zone. It I mean, it gave us 17 fold with news pushing it, but then as soon as news was done, it come and took it out. So a good enough move for anybody as far as I'm concerned. It then comes back and fills this imbalance. Like I said, I didn't spot this one because I was on my phone at work. I was busy. So imbalance filled there, taps into something in this. That's why I marked it red because I didn't have it. But still a good valid trade. And then we've got something up here which it reacted out of. I push there. Again, we get a good push up and then a push down. And I would say this is all balanced on the 10-second anyway. And then we start getting a bit of volume in the downside from this one here. I'm not sure if that'll change on the lower, lower. Yeah, it's still the same point. Yeah, same on the seconds. I think it comes quite deep into this, but my entry would always be at this point where this down candle hits. I wouldn't trust it up here. I know this looks fairly similar, but I would think if it came that high, there's a chance it would just take it out anyway. So that's obviously what it's come for since. But yeah, 1 to 14-ish it reached. It might continue up now. I don't really know. That was that was my Thursday, I think, was it? Wednesday, Tuesday? Thursday. That was my Thursday anyway. Um, I've still got liquidity to the downside, which it might come for. We are heavily downtrending as well. But it doesn't mean we're not due a pullback. Might pull back into Phil's 4-hour imbalance here. So 4-hour imbalance is around about here. Just wondering if we've got a setup for buy lining up. Because we are downtrending here. This push up would be the change of character. Change there. Also, so I'm just uh, so yeah, change of character. So if we've got a trend line somewhere in here, maybe we've got a sweep change of character. I mean, we can possibly come back somewhere in there for a buy this week. Quite, quite. Um, yeah, 3 pepper touches, um, which would mean this is spread out a minute. So Um, uh, spread out. I think there's a possible buy in here anyway. Um, so the zones I would mark up would be something like that. Are you keen of anything in that? What? That might be a trap, so it might come just below, which is common. Very common. Maybe that there. Maybe. Um, I'm not sure about this because this is spread out price action, so let's put this down. Is that the overall level? Okay. So that width of pretty much covers that. Just draw an image in case. To go by that, it's too much wiki involved in it. And we've got this here. So let's look in a minute now.
Come on, let's see it on seconds, Lee.
Pardon?
Let's see it on the 1 second, mate.
What, the lower one?
Yeah. You opened Pandora's box when you showed me that. Oh, look at
That for
that.
a
Juicy.
second, mate. Yeah,
Juicy.
yeah, absolutely,
Oh,
mate.
that's exciting. That gives us a thrill, doesn't it?
Yeah. I like the time of day as well, mate. It's I don't believe that's news time, so this is, as
No.
far as I'm concerned, this is authentic and organic. So time of day, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
huge push. Nearly 5 pips in a second. That's got to be
Yeah.
something. So yeah, probably that one, mate. That's the only issue I've got with it is so far down.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
It'll
it's not an
it'll
issue.
come for it
I mean,
one day.
it is
Just
what it
just
is.
just been in a
But
win, yeah.
absolutely, yeah. So yeah, the only issue I've got with it being so low is it matters with this, but obviously the higher you go, the more at risk you are of losing as well. So, but yeah, I mean, I really like that lower one. I'm just my only other concern is obviously I say it most weeks is I'm not too keen on the ones from the
Yeah.
extreme, but I mean that took a second to trigger, so it is a big move. And ones that do react from like the extreme, they are quite often huge
Mhm.
moves as well. So yeah, like I say, that's probably my favourite. I don't know what to do about that one
It's
because
just a,
it's spread out. What I think might happen is it might just tap this one just above it. Um, you might get a reaction out of that, and then like it's this one.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's obviously I've just marked that live now. Um, yeah, I'll leave it on anyway.
Hmm.
It's done everything we wanted it to. Trend line, sweep, break to the upside. It is starting to break to the upside as well. So um, I don't particularly see an entry. So I don't think it's already played out either. So worth looking at. Um, is there any questions, guys, or anything else you want me to cover?
No, that's cool. Thanks.
I mean, if you want for another 10 odd minutes, I can just float around charts and
Lee,
see
do you
what's
think you
going
need the
on.
seconds? Sorry.
Sorry, mate, what?
Do you think you need the seconds, or can you get by with just the lowest being the 1 minute?
you can definitely get by with just a minute, mate. I did it myself for a very long time. It's not necessarily you don't need them, but I believe it helps. It helped. Well, it helped me anyway. So, let's see if I can find an example. So obviously, I was trying to sell this um, Thursday, wasn't it? So I've got this first entry. So on the minute, mate, I wouldn't have, I probably wouldn't have seen this entry being that tight. Whereas if I just had the minute, what I used to do, mate, is I used to do the start of the imbalance. Obviously, you got imbalance down here with this push here, and then to the wick high. So this went 18 fold. If I only had the minute and I picked the same sort of area, nine a little bit. Uh, how far to go? So it comes to this. So you'd get a 1 to 5 out of it, mate. I mean that's the difference. It's 3 times as tight for me, so you get 3 times more. Obviously, it won't always be the case. I mean, it's even if we just wake off these three. I mean, I probably wouldn't have spotted something in there. A very best, I'd have maybe gone above this wick high here if I couldn't go below the 1 minute. So would never have spotted that one. And similar with this one, mate, it would just make it a big stop loss. So that's how I would mark it on the 1 minute. Because again, it's the imbalance. So stop loss would be nearly double the size on that one.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, it's personal choice, mate. It takes a little bit of getting used to. I think you can get bogged down in the seconds charts. I specifically only use it for finding. I mean, I'm sure you would have noticed, mate, if I've not gone below like the 1 minute until I'm looking for an entry. So all this other stuff is done 1 minute and above, all the points of interest, the trend lines. It's only when I get to the point of this is closed below where I wanted it to. I've had my final confirmation. At that point, I'm going, right, I like this sort of area. You could even mark on the 5, mark up here or wherever. And then obviously from there, I'd be going, I can get it a bit tighter. But I mean, I would always tell all you guys that wherever your entries are, your stop loss should always be about covering the height of the area you want to be. So technically, what I would be saying is I'm using the like sub 1 minute to get a tighter entry, but my stop loss should always be in the same place.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just helps me pinch a bit more. Like I say, I mean, this is a good example. It gives me goes from a 9 pip stop loss to a 3. So my stop loss would have pretty much been in the same place. It would allowed for spreads and rounded up or whatever, you know. And going under 3 is a bit more. I mean, technically, my entry zone was 1.1 pip, you know, but being sub 2.5, it always makes me feel a little bit iffy, you know. I think I was 2.5 on it, so yeah, it's not essential, mate, but it does help. It will once you figure out what you're looking for. Obviously, you'll know what imbalance is, mate. That's pretty much all we're looking for. um, it'll just help you maximize the returns, but with that will come more stress as well, because this end, I don't know why, but this entry here feels more stressful than this one, even though the stop loss would be in the same place.
Yeah.
So more stress, but with that comes more reward. So, you know, it's it's personal choice, mate. Plenty of people succeed and don't use it. I did it a long time without it, but then I just started to. I got onto it because I was doing just the 1 minute entries. Obviously, I was losing quite a bit. I was I was I was winning. I'd say about 50-50, to be honest. But this was my other strategy, but the entry sort of thing was the same. So price would either react in something that I was unsure of, and I couldn't see it because there was no imbalance below the on the 1 minute. Like obviously, it doesn't look like there's much up here, but it's reacted out of there. So my curiosity got the better of me, thinking, well, there's got to be a sign
Mm.
of something of why it would hit this point and then reverse. Obviously, you could argue that there's a trend line here and it takes liquidity and then reverses, but I don't believe that's enough for price just reversing. Price always seems to want to fill an imbalance and reverse. So obviously it reverses because it takes liquidity, but it always seems to run into an imbalance fill. So we don't always see it as an imbalance fill, especially obviously this I marked this one off like the 10 second or whatever. So and that leads into I always say that the market is made up of tiny imbalances, not huge ones. So this is viewed as an imbalance on the 15. That there,
Anything,
chances are,
anything could be in there. Anything.
yeah. I mean that's yeah, I mean, that's just one 15-minute candle, but obviously with the two candles either side of it, 45 minutes of price action, like a lot can happen in that. That could have draw that if this one candle was over here, that could have done this,
Yeah.
and then that would be super balanced or whatever, or it could have pried around at the top of the candle for 13 minutes, done a huge drop, waited at the bottom, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then left a big imbalance in the middle. So
You've no
it's
idea what's going on. Even at the
no,
minutes, even on
no,
the minute, you've got no idea what's really going on
no,
inside.
no. So like I say, I'll show you. I've got no idea what's in this, but we'll uh, we'll break it down and we'll inspect it. So looks like a big imbalance on the 15. So turn it yellow. So let's go 5. I'll do 5-1 and then 10 seconds are out. So straight away, 5 minute,
There you go.
no imbalance. Maybe a tiny bit in here. Maybe there. But that'll change again on the 1 minute. So I'll delete that bigger one because this is all balanced now. So see, gone again. That's your
Yeah.
imbalance is completely gone. So but we've still got a little bit up here on the 1 minute. So it's there. It's gone from here where we was looking. Is that I don't even know if that's where on the see it's nothing on the 5 minute. It's just an up and down candle. You're okay on the 3. It's a bit smaller. So but when you get down to the 10, like you've got these tiny little pockets of it. And because 10 seconds is not a long time at all, it's hard to fake imbalance on the lower time frame because obviously you've got this little pocket there, possibly the whole thing. I mean, 10 seconds not long, but you've got a little green candle in there, little wick. So just for the sake of what we're talking about, you've got imbalance there, imbalance there, imbalance there. So I think originally we was looking down. We was originally looking at this sort of area, I think, weren't we, on the 15? Put it back on. Yeah. So this is the original imbalance we've marked there. I'll turn it over. So it disappeared on all the other time frames. Yeah, that's right. So now what we've actually got is obviously this is the wick that we marked it to. We have actually got a bit of imbalance in there on the 10 imbalance. So we do have a bit of imbalance there. price might have actually touched this level and started to react out of it. I'll have a look, but obviously there's stuff higher up that it's come for. So if price has come from quite far away and then it's made this journey and it's chomping up imbalance now, it's going to come up for. It may as well fill the highest sort of one at this point. That's this up here. But as you can see, this pretty much this yellow line here for the original point of interest I had marked, it pretty much fills that imbalance to the T. So it swept liquidity, filled an imbalance. The actual entry that this one here, it probably sweeps liquidity and fills the imbalance. So yeah, this is why obviously the markets are created by tiny little imbalances, because these are hard to hide because it's such a short space of time. Whereas on the 15-minute, like I say, this looked like a huge imbalance, but there's next to nothing in it. So people would sell from like the FVG traders or ITT guys would sell from 50% of this imbalance. So they would sell likely from here, does fill an imbalance, but the actual entries come all the way up here and filled all the bits of imbalance.
Yeah.
So this is what I use the seconds for. It's not essential, but for me, it really seems to work. So that's the only sort of advice I can give you, mate. As you can see, this imbalance.
Once you've seen a few, for me, once I'd seen a few trades that use the seconds,
yeah,
I thought I just I want to figure out how to do that, and you got to have the tool. You got to have the tool.
Yeah.
The 1 minute is like it's like you showed us there at 15. The one is just the same. You've no idea what's going on inside that.
No. And like this is because when I was doing I think this area here. So obviously this big up candle, big down push. I know we're on the 5 minute, but if that was say the 1 minute, this is what got me spiked me interest was I was seeing it was reacting out of like this on the 1 minute, a big up candle, big down candle. And I was thinking, well, something's in there that I can't see. And then obviously you look on the 15-second and 10-second, you go, oh, actually, there's an imbalance. So obviously I know this is the 5, but you would see a big push up, there'd be an order block created, and then a big push down. So imbalance or BPR, which is imbalance still. So
it was your video only called. Was it the market is full of micro imbalances? Changed my mind, something like that.
Yeah.
Joey, to go watch that one. That's got some good examples of things you could do that you couldn't do with the minute one.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously
it shows you some reasons why.
Yeah, obviously just this is the imbalance I was saying. It probably gets filled and gets a reaction out of it, and it does. It means the smallest one, but this wick fills it to the dot. I mean, you can't get more accurate than that imbalance being filled there. It's just not the right one for a reversal, So filled, reverse, all these filled, reverse, and obviously at the highest one, where it starts. Obviously, our entry would be at the point the imbalance is filled. It goes just past it, and then obviously starts selling up or doing its wherever it's going now. So yeah, that's. I think it's worth it, mate. No worries, mate. Like I said, I do think it's worth it. It's just, I understand. I mean, I don't know how far on your journey you are, but I was year and a half in, I think. I was starting to get things right, and then yeah, it's expensive, and I mean, I was paying full price for TradingView for it because I didn't know about the offer, the Black Friday offer, so I paid full price. But then I just started thinking, well, if as an example, this one again, it goes from, oh no, that's more like 2.5. If I can make a couple of trades 3 times as much return, then that's more than paid for the subscription for the highest package, So yeah, it's look into it, mate. I mean, if you're ever looking for entries all out and you just want to send me a screenshot and just go, oh, can you just break this down on the 10-second for me or whatever, then I will do. You know, I'll send some screenshots back.
Thanks.
All right, mate. Right, I'll call it there, guys, because we are pretty much bang on the hour mark. Unless there's any more questions.
Not for me.
No. All right, guys, I'll call it there then.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Lee.
Cheers, guys. Speak to you in a bit.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye bye.